Hello, Tika and Naja. Welcome to the show, Babelonië, our two-weekly show on language and culture. Yeah, Greenland has been in the news quite a lot, unfortunately, I would say. Not that there's something wrong with Greenland being in the news, but it's for the wrong reasons. It's a bit of a coincidence, but Greenland has been on our radar for our show quite a long time, but not because of any political reasons, but because of the language and the culture. We wanted to do this for a while, so why not now? So that we finally get to know something about Greenland, the actual people that live there. So welcome. Maybe you can first introduce yourselves, because you're not just any random people. You are quite well versed in the matter at hand. So maybe I should start with Tika. Do I pronounce the names correct? Tika and Naja?
Yeah.
Right.
Naja. Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Tikaajaat Kristensen. Everybody calls me Tika, so it's okay that you call me Tika.
Uh-huh.
I work at the University of Greenland. I teach linguistics for the students here. Our focus is Kalaallisut, the language of Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Naja, is that the correct way to pronounce it? Naja.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, my name is Naja Trondhjem. I live here in Denmark and work in Copenhagen at the University of Copenhagen, Greenlandic and Arctic Studies, and I am associate professor there. And at the same time, I'm head of the language research center at the Muziek.
Mm-hmm. There's an interesting word I hear you mention, Arctic studies. Now, Arctic, for me, Arctic means lots of ice, and maybe a few ice bears walking around. What does it mean to do Arctic studies exactly?
Arctic studies is, it compounds all the Inuit languages, the language of Inuit, Yupik and Unganan languages, stretching from the edge of Siberia along the coast up to Greenland, both from Alaska and Canada and then Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
And Arctic studies also indicate studies in the Arctic, for example, Samic languages or Faroes or Icelandic. It could be, yeah.
Uh-huh. Icelandic, yeah, that's also close to the Arctic.
Not the language, but more cultural relations in these areas.
Yeah. You mentioned quite a few groups and languages. In what way are they related? Because Icelandic is, of course, a Germanic language, but the language of Greenland is not at all related to Icelandic, I suppose.
No, the former name was Eskimo-Aleotic language family, but due to the taboos about Eskimo and Aleutian words, the name has become Inuit, Yupik, and Unganan languages. Unganan languages are the Aleutic languages located on the Aleutian Islands in West Alaska, and Yupik languages are based on the tip of Siberia and the west coast of Alaska. Inuit languages are Inupiaq in Alaska, the northern part of Alaska. Then we have Inuktitut languages, which are West Inuktitut and East Inuktitut, and then we have Greenlandic with three main dialects. Kalaallisut is the standard language, and we have the dialects are based on the where they originate from. Then we have located in the northernmost part of Greenland, and Kusernerit on the west Greenland, and Kusernerit the east Greenland, and Kusernerit is west Greenland.
Yeah. Kusernerit is East Greenland.
Yeah, Kusernerit is East Greenland.
Okay, and it belongs to the same family as the Inuktitut languages in Canada?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how deep is that? Does that relationship go? Can they speak with each other? Can they understand each other, or are they very different languages?
In parts, it is very different languages, but the northernmost Muziek part from in the Thule area, they came to Thule about 1700, and their language is partly similar to the Inuktitut language. But West Greenlandic has roots in the Alaskan languages we have. Yeah. And East Greenlandic is another dialect because it seems to be it is a mix of the Western Greenlandic and a former Dorset group they met up in the Arnap area, Thule area, and moved to East Greenland.
All right. And how many speakers do these languages or varieties, you could say? Because Greenland doesn't have that many inhabitants. What was it? I saw 50,000 or something. So I imagine that the language is because some part of the population will probably not speak the language. They might speak Danish or a different language.
Yeah, but the majority speaks Kalaallisut.
All right.
Yeah.
Kalaallisut is the majority of language in Greenland. Yeah, but we only have 56,000 people, so the majority is not that many.
No,
if you look at it like
relatively,
in the global,
okay.
In the global context, it's not that many. But in the country, in here in Greenland, it's the majority of people who speak Kalaallisut.
Yeah,
and it's the official language of Greenland, and Danish is it's still mandatory to learn. So the first language is Kalaallisut. That's what we learn in school and how we are taught in school. But Danish is still like a second language and is still a mandatory language to learn in school. And if you are having a higher education, like seeking a higher education, you have to be able to speak Danish, because then you go into the Danish education system. And then English is essentially a third language, but it's taught in the same level as the first two languages.
So I would imagine that most of the people in Greenland will be at least trilingual at some degree.
Bilingual, maybe.
Bilingual,
more likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
English
think
is newer.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a report saying that about 50 or 75% of Greenlanders speak Greenlandic, and only 15% are bilingual, Kalaallisut and Danish.
50
And
15.
And 15% are Danish speaking.
When you are talking about such a small number, 50,000, although there are still plenty of languages out there that have even fewer speakers, and usually those are languages that are facing quite a lot of challenges. What's the situation in Greenland? Is the demographics of it? Is the youth still using the language? Is there a transmission between the generations?
Young people learn to talk in Greenlandic. Small children are learning Greenlandic as their mother tongue, and even though some young people are speaking English more than Danish, maybe. This part is moving away from Danish, but they are still bilingual, wouldn't you say, Tika?
Kalaallisut is still the first language, even like it's the first language that the children learn, and English is becoming more and more used in everyday life, but it's pushing out Danish and not so much the Kalaallisut language.
But the children still do use Kalaallisut as a home language then?
Yes.
And so the transmission between the generations is still going on.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's still the first language that, like, if you are in the primary school, the first grade in primary school, you have to learn Kalaallisut. And it's the first language that you learn how to read and write. It's all the books, like in math, for example, are in Kalaallisut. So it's it is the first language and the primary language still.
It is very different from the Canadian dialects, where the young people don't learn them Inuktitut language. It's not the same way.
Like also in Alaska, most people who are learning Inupiaq are adults who are learning for the first time, even though their parents or grandparents spoke that language. It's not the same situation here in Greenland.
No, not at all.
So the situation for Kalaallisut is more positive, you would say.
If you look at the Inuit languages, the family of Inuit languages, Greenlandic is the strongest language in that group.
And you have at the university, you can write your BA project in Kalaallisut if you want to. And there is since of a kilometer.
I have no idea.
The
one who create the project.
Yeah. So they can do it in Kalaallisut.
And are there lots of students that do so?
Yeah, more and more now. I teach Kalaallisut. That's the language I use when I teach linguistics.
At what age range are we talking?
It's the university, so the undergrad.
That's a positive sign. That's like the 18, 19, 20 years old. That's a positive sign. Well, from what I know from other language movements I know from Europe, you often see a gap at the end of the childhood period where you see suddenly they go out, they live in the city, the language disappears from their everyday use. So in that regard, Kalaallisut is apparently in a much stronger position than.
Yeah, I think part of it is because we live in a really remote island that we don't really have no contact. It's really, we have more and more contact now, and with the internet, it's becoming more and more normal to consume English-speaking media more and more. So, but what we are seeing now is that it's pushing out Danish and not Kalaallisut in the younger generation. So maybe the next generation after that, so we have to be prepared for protecting the language, but right now we are still good.
Okay.
And the family's primary language is Greenlandic for most families, I would say.
And maybe for this recording, we use Kalaallisut and Greenlandic. It's the same language, which is because Kalaallisut is the Kalaallisut name for the language, but Greenlandic is like the English. It's the same language.
And does the word Kalaallisut have a specific meaning, or is it just mean Greenland?
So we are Inuit, like in we are part of the Inuit people. Inuit, the word Inuit means people.
People.
Just directly people.
People.
Right. Yeah.
So we are people, but so we usually call ourselves Inuit, but I think it's the oldest Greenlandic dictionary that we have. So it's a missionary who wrote that dictionary, and he asked the people, "What do you call yourself?" And the answer he got was that we call ourselves Inuit, but when we are talking to outsiders, so like people who are not from this country, then we call ourselves Kalaallit, and nobody knows why. But that's the first recording we have of that word. But there was no explanation of why there's a difference. But one of the theories, we have many theories for that, but one of the theories is that it's come from the Viking words or something. So maybe due to a contact between the Vikings that used to live in the southern part of Greenland and the Inuit people who came in contact with the Vikings and somehow differentiate themselves from that kind of people to this kind of people. So we have Nunaat and Kalaallit. Nunaat is the white people, and then we have Kalaallit, who are the Inuit of Greenland. And then many years later, when the nation building became like a project, the country was called Kalaallit Nunaat, so the land of the Kalaallit. And the language was like Kalaallisut. It's the same with Danish, it's Kalaallit. English is Duluttut. So we have the ending Suttut, meaning like them. And then we have Kalaallit, which are the Inuit people in Greenland. Kalaallit meaning pale people. So white. And Duluttut, I don't really know what the stem of that word comes from, but it's the English-speaking people.
Okay, and by the way, how long have the Inuit been in Greenland exactly? How long has Greenland been populated?
So we have had different migrations of the Inuit, different kind of Inuit people from. I think the first was 2,000 years ago or something like that.
1,200.
And then there was a period of time where there was no people, and then Inuit came again, another, and the last, like our ancestors of us who lives here now, they came around the same times as the Vikings actually, but they came from the north, and then the Vikings from the south.
Okay, and you met
so around 1200.
Yes. Yeah.
900, 1200. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there is several tens of thousands of speakers. Do you manage to create a community and with modern media, modern culture? I know I have seen some music or heard some music in the language. And you mentioned that there are books and dictionaries. I suppose you also have something on TV, radio.
We have TV, radio, music, books, everything in Kalaallisut. Newspapers, all the news that we have every day is in Kalaallisut, and then the subtitles are in Danish.
The radio is primary in
Kalaallisut. There's far between the not Kalaallisut speaking programs in the radio. So like everyday life is in Kalaallisut first.
Okay. It helps, of course, if you live on a remote island, then it's easier to preserve your language and your culture, I suppose. I imagine that most of the people in Greenland, as far as I remember, they live quite concentrated on the southern parts, in a few towns, or one town even.
No, we have.
Or are you separated over the?
We had me and Naja and other people actually had a project.
Dialect
It's still
project.
it's still going on,
Yeah.
but we started 2 or 3 years ago. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But we have a dialect project, like looking at the people in Greenland and traveling. So we were a team of researchers,
yeah.
doing linguistic research here in Greenland, and we traveled to different parts of Greenland. We decided to go to the northernmost is the Upernavik. It's in North Greenland. Oh, I don't have a map around here. And then we went to Upernavik, Qaanaaq, the most northern. Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry. So the people who speak
the place where it's the place where Space Base is located. Yeah.
So people who speak the Avanaswami dialects are in Qaanaaq area, where Thule Air Base is also Space Base. So Qaanaaq, Upernavik, Uummannaq, it's North Greenland, Aasiaat. Those are what we consider North Greenland. And then we have Nuuk.
Sisimiut Maniitsoq.
Yeah, but we went to Nuuk.
Yeah.
We are based in Nuuk.
Yeah.
And then we went to South Greenland, to Nanortalik, the most southernmost town we have. But we have Nanortalik Narsaqaqortoq Paamiut. So we have a lot of, like in North Greenland, there's a lot of towns also. And then we also went to East Greenland. So we were in Tasiilaq and Ittoqqortoormiit. And what we found out, like, this project was looking at if there's any leveling in the dialects of Greenland. Like if we are starting to be more like the Nuuk dialect, because that's where the radio and TV and everything is located. So that's the main dialect you hear on the news, on the TV, on the radio, on like that's what people speak. So we were looking at if that has an influence on the different smaller accent and dialects we have in Greenland. And it turns out it doesn't. And one of the reasons we come up with, it's so remote. It's hard to, like, we don't have any roads between towns. You have to travel by ice, air and sea. And depending on the weather, you can be stuck somewhere for a long time. So I think that's one of the reasons why the dialects and the different accents are so well preserved in that community, in that area.
For example, in Qaanaaq, the northernmost dialects, there are only about 750 speakers, but the dialect is very alive because all people in that town speak that dialect. And newcomers from other places learn the dialect if they come, because they only speak that dialect. So
I don't imagine there will be many newcomers. We're probably not talking about hundreds.
No, it's mostly like teachers and what do we have? Nurses, teachers, and the police are usually the newcomers to town.
So the remoteness helps the local varieties.
In terms of language.
Okay. Radio and TV, of course, they don't need roads, but they don't seem to have an impact then.
That's what we were looking at. How much of
only small variations on the phonological side, I would say.
You refer to the variety in the capital, Nuuk, as a dialect. So I reckon that the dialect of Nuuk is not the same as a standard language. There must be a standard.
There's a standard language, and the standard language, it's actually the region language of Kalaallisut. It's
it doesn't.
It's more
involve-
complicated.
Okay.
Yeah, it is based
written
on.
standards.
Yeah,
And
It
the
is-
written language is based on the dialect spoken in Sisimiut, Maniitsoq, and Nuuk.
yeah.
So you could say that Nuuk is the standard language.
Inhabitants from Nuuk, Sisimiut, and Maniitsoq say there are local variations also
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So
there's a difference.
there's
those.
a difference. Yeah.
Mhm. So I would like to discuss the language itself. It's an interesting thing for us Europeans because it's what is called a polysynthetic language, meaning that you have extremely long words. How does that work exactly?
You put morphemes on and make a long word if you want to.
Yeah.
It's not like in Dutch or German where you can have long compound words. It's actually one word with lots of morphemes. So there's a
We
difference.
actually do not have compound words, only few. But the word is based on a base and an ending. It could be a noun or a verb. And besides these bases, we have a lot of affixes to put in between the base. And so we have about 400 affixes to put in between the base and inflection. So you can choose whichever you want to say. But these are, of course, in different semantic categories. So you can, if you want to say about the tense, you can use the tense affixes or adverbials or something like that.
But that also means that I can say, I can make a word saying this. I'm trying to have some kind of, instead of making a sentence that like in Dutch, you have to have a like kind of restriction on what you can put next to each other. So when you want to say something, it's the same meaning. I'm thinking of like we are trying to portray a meaning. Then you have the words. But in Kalaallisut, we just put a base and then affixes. And I could say it differently than maybe Naja would. But we would understand each other because we know the meanings of these affixes that we put on.
So you can basically put a whole sentence into one word.
Yes.
What we would express in a sentence, you would put into one word.
Yes.
And that's how you get these very long words then.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a bit similar like in Turkish has a similar phenomenon. Yeah.
Only in a way, because they have a lot of inflection changes. But we have a lot of affixes, individual affixes, also besides the inflections. Yeah.
It's like Lego blocks you put attached to each other to create a long construction.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
then we have different small sound changes that happens if you put this ending in a stem and then affix start, and then like you just have to know the sound change rules that we have, and then you can make up a word.
That's a bit something similar that happens in the Germanic languages then. You also have this stem vowels that change depending on the inflection. All right.
It sounds so easy, but it's really because there's so many that you have to remember that it becomes, it's different. It's so different from European languages that most Europeans have difficulty learning.
I imagine so. You mentioned tense, for example. Does the language use the simple the forms as we do in the European languages with past, present, future, perfect, and all of those?
Yeah, but not as inflection, but as affixes, optional affixes put when you need it. So if you have perfect, then you use specific perfect affixes, sima and nigu, for if you have done something yesterday or something. degelijk. But we have also future affixes, and if you mention something about future things, then you have to use the future affixes. So you can't say, if something is happening tomorrow, then you must use this future affix. Otherwise, we would say, understand it as it is happening now. Yeah.
It's more rigid as in the Romance languages, that you have to use the future to talk about the future.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But you, in the past one, you don't have to have an affix. You can also just say yesterday and then something. So that's the difference, that we have to put an affix. No matter, we have to have a marker for the future, and for the past is optional, but mostly used.
Yeah.
And you use an extensive case system with nominative, accusative? You do?
Eight
we
cases.
have 8 cases,
8.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
and not
fairly,
nominative, accusative. We don't have that.
Well,
We have
ergative,
the ergative,
and
okay,
absolutive. Yeah.
So you put the object is basically the subject. Our object will be your subject then, sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
Right.
So it depends on the valency.
If you would
of
say,
the
I see a cat, you would see a cat, I see, something in that structure. The cat would be the... How would you say, I see a cat, then?
It depends on the subject is normally omitted when you talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say that if you are talking, like if you have an I sentence, we don't really say that. It's the third person. So Kevin saw a cat.
But we always have, for example, if you have a transitive sentence, you must have, the subject must be in relative or ergative case, and the objects should be in absolutive case, unmarked or unmarked.
Yeah, and if it's intransitive, then the subject is unmarked.
Yeah, so it is crossed between the Germanic languages, so you have the same case in subjects, even if it is transitive or intransitive.
Yeah. I think the Basque language has a similar system, if I recall correctly. All down in... Right.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you very much for this insight in the language of Greenland and the culture, which is something else than what you would normally hear on the news these days. So I hope both of you are doing well over there. Thank you very much, Naja and Tika.
Yeah.